Close your eyes for a second. Think about the last time you actually touched a tree. Not walked past one, not glanced at one through a window, actually stopped, reached out, and felt the bark beneath your fingers. For most people, they can't even remember. And that gap, that distance between us and the natural world, may be costing us more than we ever realized. Welcome back to Senior Logic. Today we're diving into something that sounds almost too simple to be true. But by the end of this video, the science is going to surprise you. It might even send you straight outside, because it turns out touching a tree every single day could be one of the most underrated health habits of your life. Now, before you scroll away, give me 60 seconds. Because this isn't about hugging trees or mystical energy. This is biology. This is chemistry. This is your body doing something it was literally designed to do. And somewhere along the way, between the smartphones and the office buildings and the indoor everything, we stopped. So let's talk about what we've lost. And more importantly, how easy it is to get it back. Here's where the story really begins. Back in the 1980s, Japan was facing a quiet crisis. Stress levels were skyrocketing. Heart disease was climbing. People were burning out at alarming rates in one of the world's most demanding work cultures. The government got together with scientists and asked a simple question: what actually makes human beings feel better? They expected complex pharmaceutical answers. What they found instead was sitting in the forest. Japanese scientists began studying what happened to people's bodies when they simply spent time walking among trees. They called it Shinrin-yoku, which translates to forest bathing. And what they discovered launched decades of research that is still unfolding today. But here's the piece most people miss when they talk about forest bathing. It wasn't just the scenery. It wasn't just the fresh air or the quiet. A significant part of the effect came from physical contact, from touch, from people placing their hands on trunks, sitting with their backs against bark, feeling that ancient, rough, living texture against their skin. So, what exactly is happening in your body at that moment? Picture this. You're standing in front of a large oak tree. Maybe it's been standing for 100 years. You reach out and press your palm flat against the bark. You feel the ridges, the grooves, the cool, solid weight of something that doesn't move. At that exact moment, without you even noticing, your nervous system begins to shift. Your skin is loaded with sensory receptors. When you make contact with natural textures, real ones, not synthetic, those receptors send signals to your brain along specific pathways. And unlike the signals triggered by screens, keyboards, or plastic surfaces, natural textures stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the branch of your nervous system responsible for rest, recovery, and healing. Think of it as your body's off switch for stress. Studies in sensory neuroscience have shown that this tactile connection with natural materials produces measurable drops in cortisol, the stress hormone that quietly damages your heart, disrupts your sleep, weakens your immune system, and accelerates aging when it stays elevated too long. One touch, and your biology starts to calm down. But wait, because it gets even more fascinating. Those trees around you, they're not just standing there silently. They're producing something invisible, something powerful, something that floats through the air and enters your lungs with every breath, and especially concentrates near the bark you're touching. These are called phytoncides, natural chemical compounds that trees release as their own immune defense, protecting themselves from bacteria, fungi, and insects. And when you breathe them in while standing close to a tree, something remarkable happens inside you. Your natural killer cells activate. NK cells, natural killer cells, are your body's elite immune soldiers. They hunt down viruses. They identify and destroy abnormal cells before they become something worse. And research from Japanese immunologist Dr. Ching Li found that after just 2 to 3 days near trees and their phytoncides, participants showed a dramatic increase in NK cell activity. Not for hours, for weeks afterward. Now think about that. The tree isn't just calming your mind. It is actively strengthening your immune system through the air it exhales. You can't get that from a supplement bottle. You can't manufacture that in a lab, but you can get it by stepping outside and standing next to a living tree. Now here's the part nobody talks about, and this is what really stayed with me. What if the tree isn't completely passive in this exchange? Here's a real scientific phenomenon called thigmomorphogenesis. It's a word that sounds complicated but means something beautiful. It's the documented ability of trees and plants to physically respond to touch over time. When a tree is repeatedly touched or exposed to physical contact in the same area, it changes. The bark thickens, changes. The growth pattern shifts. The tree adapts. In other words, a tree remembers being touched. Not the way you remember a conversation, but in its own slow, ancient biological language. It registers contact with the living world, including you. And beneath the soil, connecting tree to tree through vast webs of fungal threads, what scientists now call the wood wide web, trees are sharing nutrients, sending chemical signals, even warning each other of threats. When you touch a tree, you are making contact with one node of a living network that stretches across entire forests, a system older than civilization, older than memory. Does that change how it feels to press your hand against that bark? It should. Now here's something worth knowing. This isn't fringe science anymore. Scotland now allows doctors to officially prescribe time in nature as part of patient treatment plans. South Korea has built an entire government-funded network of forest healing centers. Finland integrates outdoor nature contact into their national mental health strategy. Japan has certified over 60 official forest therapy trails, all backed by clinical research. The world's medical systems are quietly, slowly beginning to prescribe what your ancestors simply lived. And you don't need a prescription. You don't need a forest. You don't even need to leave your neighborhood. So here's your takeaway. Here's the thing I want you to carry with you after this video ends. Tomorrow morning, or even tonight, go outside. Find any tree, the one on your street, the one in the parking lot, the one in someone's yard you pass every day without noticing. Put your hand on it. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Feel the texture. Feel the stillness of something that has been rooted and growing quietly for longer than most of your problems have existed. 1 minute, 1 tree, every day. Because here's the truth, and it's a truth that science is only now learning to measure, but that something deep in your body already knows. You were not built for this world of concrete and screens and artificial everything. Some part of you is still ancient, still wired for the living world. And the anxiety, the inflammation, the restlessness that so many people carry, some of it is simply the weight of a life lived too far from nature. One tree can't fix everything, but it might remind your body of something it's been forgetting. And the most powerful part, most people will hear this and never try it because it sounds too simple, too quiet, too ordinary to matter. But you're here, watching Senior Logic, which means you're the kind of person who looks closer. So go outside, touch a tree, and notice what happens next. If this moved you, share it with someone who needs a moment of calm today. And if you want more science that makes you see ordinary life differently, we'll be right here.